Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Living Life at Life U. I am your host, Dr. Veronica Garcia, and we are back with another of our research episode series, which means that I am joined by the amazing
Aaron Gilligan, the other co-host. And today we are pleased to welcome Dr. Will Vicory to our studio. Will, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you, Will. I want the world to know a little bit more about your role at the university. But before that, you do have a background in biomedical engineering. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
That is not correct. Fix, please. What is your background?
My background actually originally was in mechanical engineering.
Gotcha.
And I worked in the telecommunications industry for about over 20 years.
Okay.
Until it decided that they didn't want to exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically where I started. I actually got hired in straight out of school to an unknown company called AT&T Bell Laboratories, and which was supposedly the think tank of all research and all that stuff like that. But it was interesting. It was an interesting career.
Huh. And when did chiropractic come about?
When I had to reinvent myself. It's one of the bad things about getting laid off or losing your position or something like that is that you have to find something and then you find out that, everybody tells you, you're obsolete. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I had to I basically had to reinvent myself.
Wow.
And so I was actually going to school to become a rad tech. And the professor that I had, he said to me, he says, "You annoy me." I said, "Okay, well, I like it." He says, "No, you ask too many questions and you should think about being a doctor." I said, "Oh no, I hate doctors, not interested." But he kept persisting. And then one day he called me into his lab. He says, "I want you to see something." And then he showed me something that I'd never seen before. He had a person laying on the table and he was doing this, and he says, "Watch this leg." And it went short. And he says, "Watch this leg now." And it goes long. And I went, "What is that?" He says, "I can't tell you." I said, "What do you mean you can't tell me?" He says, "You'll have to go to this school over here and find out." So I said, "Okay." I thought about it. Because you now mess with me because now
now you can't sleep.
Yeah, I have a tendency of that problem. Right? So I had to process that, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check this out. So I went to this place called Life University. Had no idea what it did, and then didn't know anything about it. Walked in there, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting in Dr. Koch's class. After about 4 or 5 weeks, he goes and says something, and I said, "Oh, I get it." And all of a sudden it clicked. That's basically how I got into chiropractic.
So then you got the answer to all those questions, or one of the answers to all those questions, maybe.
Short leg length, come on. Right. I'm like, come on. It just blew my mind. But he made it look magical.
Yeah.
But you can do that. Yeah. And it's funny because when I actually worked with patients, that's exactly what I would do is show them the leg length differential, and then show them how I could correct it. And they're like, their eyes would light up like, "What is this?" I'm like, I'll give the magic to you too. So
magical evidence in a way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So how long, you're back at the university in a different role. How long since you graduated and then come back into the role that you are in?
I graduated in 2011.
Okay.
So was in practice, obviously for about 14 years, and then received this opportunity. So kind of excited about it.
So what is this opportunity now?
I don't know. Actually.
Evolving.
It's evolving. It actually has, because when I originally was told what it was, it's not what it is now. So I was to be actually helping to upgrade the PAT mannequin. And unfortunately, the PAT mannequins have had a lot of activity, and their durability is lacking.
Ooh.
How's that?
That's
good?
fancy words. I like fancy words.
That's what I thought too. So actually, I'm trying to upgrade it, find ways to improve its performance, as well as make it more conducive to what really the students are supposed to encounter in practice. If you're familiar, or if anybody is familiar with the PAT mannequin, everything is done with it being prone. But when you do palpation, it's not done prone, at least not the way we were taught.
Right.
And so that's one of the first things that's already changed in the upgrading of the PAT mannequin, is that I am trying to develop a seated mannequin for them to experience what palpation is really like. So trying to identify the landmarks and everything that you do in palpation. So that's where I'm going.
That is so exciting.
So exciting. Yeah, Pat gets an update.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then obviously then PAT will actually be used for adjusting, and then I'm going to work on that to try to make sure that there's some other little enhancements in there that they would not know about it. Everything is pretty invisible to the student.
So for the listener or person that's watching that has no idea what we're talking about, tell us a little bit about PAT.
Say again?
Tell us a little bit about PAT.
Okay, so the PAT mannequin, that's obviously it's an acronym. PAT meaning palpation, A being adjustment, and T being a tool. So it's palpation adjustment tool. It is basically a molded silicon, I'm going to call him a dummy because he's my buddy. Buddy, yeah.
Buddy.
And there are components that are built in to simulate the spine and all its vertebral components. There are also sensors in there in order to identify where the person is actually positioning their hand or fingers or anything like that. And that's basically the way it is right now.
That's really interesting. And I remember PAT from the very early beginnings when I was here in school, how it started in this garage and there was just foam and a spine and kind of that idea and that evolution. So it's really exciting to know that there's a person designated to continue the evolution of PAT. Because as a person that saw like the very first, this is foam and this is a structure, and then touch it and then you can start feeling it.
Right.
To what it is now, what we have students in clinic using, in technique classes and practicing, and to be able now to evolve it to a weight bearing, which is a huge difference. That is really exciting.
Yeah. If our research director has her way, which she may very well get, but the hope is that we can actually go from just right now. The PAT mannequin is an adult model.
Right.
There's a hope that we can evolve into having a child model, even a baby model. We want to possibly incorporate things that the student, the future doctor will experience, such as adipose tissue, fat, and women versus men, those kind of things. So all that is the hope that we're going to get there. But if that happens, I will be 152 years old by the time that gets done.
So you'll totally be around.
Right.
Probably. I'll be the guy that's walking with that cane.
Right.
So.
Can you speak a little bit to the research around PAT? Like, what kind of are you involved in the research itself, or how are you getting the information for how to get this evolution going, I guess, with PAT?
Actually, I inherited this. So somebody else built it. When I walked into the position, I thought I was going to have a lot of information, and I've not really found that. So I'm basically having to reinvent the wheel, which I don't like to do. So.
Yeah.
Right.
So
but it sounds like you're doing an extraordinary job, though, at it.
Oh, thanks.
Well, just getting into the seated position, I think that's revolutionary in terms of the PAT mannequin.
That I believe it will be. It was purely a recommendation from a lot of the clinic doctors that hey, this is not how we do it, and because of my inquisitiveness about it, saying, would that be good for you? Would you think that would be a teachable item for the students?
Yeah.
That was where that just developed out of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, my role is I want to support the faculty clinicians as much as possible in trying, as much as possible in trying to develop the educational tools that are necessary, because they're the ones that they get their feet on the ground with the whole process. I mean, I can come up with some great little widget, you know, and then the faculty clinicians can come back and say, yeah, that's not going to work. So, I mean, I really want to, I love to get their feedback on this stuff. And so I've asked a lot of clinicians, and I think I'm going to continue to do that. And I heard that our faculty clinicians down there at I think it's more not the student clinic, but the outpatient clinic, that they're really interested in getting involved with that. So that's going to be good. Any type of feedback, even feedback from students, is important to me. Yeah. I know that we had a, what do they call that little thing? QR code, where somebody could submit their ideas.
Absolutely.
That's great. So does Pat live now at the student clinic exclusively, or is at the outpatient clinic as well?
Yes.
Oh.
Everywhere.
Good.
Yes.
And in closets too. So.
And in storage. Right? That's fantastic.
But there's also so much opportunity, quite honestly, because being a graduate of just 6 years ago and not having the opportunity of having a mannequin or a buddy to just practice the thrusting into without someone saying, okay, Veronica, calm down. Like, I'm done for now, for today, for the next 3 months because of how many times I thrusted. It's really such a beautiful experience to be able to, in student clinic, walk the student over to Pat and say, okay, let's practice just setting up the hands. And now let's practice putting your body weight into it. And let's practice the speed of it. It's such an important piece that I feel like as a student, I didn't have. However, it's so beautiful to see them. Oh, it clicked here, and now I can just reproduce that into my patient that's laying on the table next to Pat, right? And that's what excites me about the evolution, because we have females, we have males, we have older generation, and that have very different spines than our little teeny tiny babies that we have. We have a one month old in clinic, we have all these beautiful bodies that truly having Pat to practice on and to build that confidence in students for them to say, okay, my muscle memory is now working. It's just a matter of me adapting it to this specific body now. It's giant.
And it matters.
Yeah.
Because we know that you don't adjust an infant like you adjust an adult.
Exactly.
And yet I know that there are some chiropractors out there that do, which is a tragedy as far as I'm concerned. So it's a great skill. It's this great tool to develop that skill that they need.
Absolutely.
So and one of the possible enhancements that we're going to try to do is actually incorporate some force and vector analysis with it, so that they can immediately get their feedback. I mean, right now Pat has some of that, but want to incorporate a lot of what Dr. Russell's been doing and put some of that stuff in there if I can.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll see.
So just another opportunity for collaboration and
another 15 more years or something.
There you go.
Go! 152.
152 will be here before you know it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have you in the team. I'm sure the students and the future students and me as a professor and as a person that's in there with them, it's such a beauty to see and to know that there's extra work being done, because it is an advantage for the students. So your work is definitely applauded, and so grateful for it, and really excited for where we're going. But before we wrap up today, you had the opportunity to participate in the poster symposium. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
It was terrible.
Oh,
no,
and that's the show.
No, it was a great experience. It was great to be able to see all the people who were collaborating and doing all these different things, stuff that I was not aware of. So it was really good to see some of that stuff. I was very sad I didn't win. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was really good to see all that, and especially seeing the undergrads getting involved. Yeah. Research is a big deal. A lot of people don't think so, but it really is. It's going to be. It's fundamental for our institution. So to be able to see participate in that and see some of that stuff that's going on, it's just phenomenal. And I just hope there's a continued emphasis in trying to boost up our research because, I mean, without it, where's our future?
Right. And I think the great thing about the symposium was that there were people from students, faculty members, staff members from just across the university.
Right.
So really all coming together. And so I'm so glad you had a good experience.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Good. I was just kidding about it first.
Do you feel like it prepared you have you done much conference presenting in the past?
Not with Life, obviously, but
Right.
with other places, yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's
Very
awesome.
good.
I'm excited. So I hope that we get to see you back at the next symposium as well.
Oh, I probably will have to. My
part
arm
of your
will be
job
twisted.
duties.
You will do this.
I love that. I love that. But thank you so much, Phil. Thank you for your time and thank you for your dedication and thank you for your passion for helping grow what it is the education of chiropractors at Life University. Not yet around the world, but we're coming for you. But thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your
Thank you very much.
Be amazing.
Thank you, Will.
We're
Thank
so
you.
grateful for you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Living Life a Life View. This is the Research Cities. Bye.
Bye.